And I'll tell you something with mental health, because every single one of us does. I don't care if you have billions, millions, thousands, or pennies. All of us are struggling in one way or another with something, either health or whatever it is, work, and we got to help. We have to help. And I just, all I do is use the vehicle behind me that gives me that support, and I'm not sucking up to the company. I've never been that way.
No, I love that your
There
job
is-
allows for this too.
I love this organization. Like I love it. It's unlike any place I've worked. I've always worked for big banks where they do the diversity thing just because they have to, right? It's checked. Or God in the community, check. No, we don't do that. We literally go out hand in hand with our community partners, and we want to make a difference, right?
I made it through the rough time. I made it through the tough time. I made it through the bad time. So now I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Okay. One day we gon' get on. Talk to 'em. You ain't got a choice. You gotta notice me living my best life like it's supposed to be.
Welcome to Bailey and Buck Unplugged, where we talk about sports, entertainment, and mental health in support of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. If you're struggling with mental health, we encourage you to speak up and get help. A great place to start is 988. That's the free crisis prevention lifeline. Or you can check out the resources tab at kennedykids.org. If you are in an absolute emergency, please dial 911. Either way, we want you to know that you are not alone and that you don't have to struggle, and speak up, get help. There are resources available to you, and we are here to support you. If you're new around here, I want to introduce you to our host. I am Missy Buck. I am an author and a mental health and performance coach. And my co-hosts are Robert Bailey. He is the president of Rosenhaus Sports, the president of Kennedy Kids Foundation. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, two-time college national champion. He's an NFL record holder, and he's an ESPY winner. And we are also joined by Bailey Brooks Masburn. She is a celebrity wedding and event planner, a former NFL cheerleader, and the executive director of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. Hey, and welcome to the show. So today we're super excited. We have a very special guest for you. We have Orly OG Garcia. He is a great friend of ours. He's actually on the board of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. He adds so much to our organization and what we're doing in the community. And let me tell you a little bit about him before we get started with our show, right? Officially get started with the questions. So he's actually the head of sports and the entertainment division at Amerant Bank, which is I know you guys have seen this logo, right? Especially if you're local in South Florida, you have seen them everywhere, right? Where the Panthers play. If you have ever been to a Florida Panthers hockey game, watched it on TV, you definitely have seen this logo, right? Because the arena is named after this company. So Orly has the whole sports and entertainment division. It's actually really impressive. They work with over 100 athlete and entertainment clients that they have banking with them. They manage over $9 billion with a B, dollars in assets. And they're the official bank of Miami Heat, Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Rays, Miami Marlins. And I'm sure there are others on the horizon. And in addition to that, they do so much in the community. Orly is such a big friend of the community. They do just a ton. For example, he was a part of a financial literacy program with the Miami Dolphins. Alec Ingold, one of their players, he has an organization, and they did this Florida for Money mini camp. So they just really are in the community doing a lot. As I mentioned, he does a lot with Kennedy Kids Foundation. And today we're really excited to welcome him. He's going to tell stories about working with some of your favorite athletes, and which we all know everyone loves these stories. And he's also going to talk about finances and how they affect our mental health, right? So we really know that that's a big trigger for a lot of people with their mental health and wellness. So I'm excited to dig into the show. What about you, Bailey? Oh, I'm super excited. I'm so glad to have you with us today. Orly, welcome.
Thank you guys. So excited to be.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. We had Regmila Lawley on the show a couple shows back, and she is known as the Courtside Lady, which is like local celebrity legend. And so I have coined a new name for you. I'm going to call you the Game Day Guy, because every game day that I show up, you're the guy that's on the field and in every single photo with every single one of my friends. It doesn't matter what game I go to, because I do go to quite a few of them, but you actually go to way more than I do. Like,
I don't understand how you deal and mentally like keep yourself sane attending the Hurricanes games, the Panthers games, then the Heat games, and the Dolphin games. And it's like they all happen on the same weekend sometimes, and you're just the game day guy. You see what I'm saying?
I like that. I like that. I'm going to coin that. I might, trademark that. Thank you.
You
I like
should.
I feel. I'll give you some props.
Thank you. No, but how are you keeping that all together, man?
You know what? Number one, it's passion. You got to love what you do. I know it's corny. Everybody says you love what you do. It's not work. It really is not work. I love what I do. Obviously working for Amerant and them giving me the vehicle and the space to go out there in the community, right? I can only do so much as Orly, Garcia, or OG, or the game day guy, or whatever. But if you don't have the organization backing you, you're nothing, right? So whenever I go to Jerry Plush, our chairman and CEO, or Howard Levine, who you've met, who runs our consumer bank, and I'm like, listen, this is going on in the community. We need to get involved. They're like, hey, man, let's go, right? What do you need? What's out there that's going to make a difference in the community? So, Amerant Bank is a community bank. So what does that mean? Be out in the community. And Misty, real quick, we just surpassed the $10 billion mark, which is a huge milestone for the
Yeah,
bank.
update your website then, my friend. That's
Yeah, that just
amazing.
happened. Yes.
It's a lot of zeros.
Yes, it is. Oh my God.
Like 10 billion. Like
Yeah, you go from a community bank to a small regional once you hit that $10 billion mark. So we're really proud of that. And it's all been organic, right? It's all been going out in the community, like you mentioned, Misty, and like you mentioned, Bailey, and making a difference. When I had the opportunity to meet you both and Bailey, I remember our lunch, and that was kind of funny. We could go there a minute. So we had lunch, and we were at Bo Campers, and I remember Joe Rose, or Bo came in first, and Bailey goes down there acting all cool to see Bo, and 2 seconds later, I come down, I hug Bo. He's like, hey, OG. Okay, I go sit down again, and Joe Rose comes in. There goes Bailey. 2 seconds later, there comes OG again. She didn't know me, but she just had met
No,
me.
we had just met. This was the first time we
Yes.
had ever met. And I'm like, why is he following me when I'm going to go say
Yeah.
hi to my friends?
No,
Not
it
knowing
was like,
he knew them too.
That they're his friends too.
And then Steph walks in, Levitt, and she's like, no. I go, yeah, I know him as well. So that was kind of the way we set the tone. It was really funny. And then when you shared, what Kennedy Kids is all about, right? I still remember at the table and us talking, and I'm like, wow. First of all, it touched me as a father. I have two children. They're grown up. My son Danny, 32, and my daughter 25, Diana. And you think about your children and everything that's happening in the world and mental health, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to get involved. And so Bailey's like, well, you want to get involved? We have a 5K happening in 2 weeks, like literally. I'm like, okay, no pressure. Sure, 2 weeks from now, let's sponsor this thing. So I ran up to Howard and Jerry, and I'm like, hey, listen, this is what's going on. Look at this organization. It's amazing. I don't know if we have time. There's no budget. It's the end of the year. And I'm like, well, let me explain what they really do. And then I could tell you immediately, Jerry and Howard, like, okay, go. And, 2 weeks later, they had Amerant Bank, sponsored the Kennedy Kids 5K. And, that's what we're all about, right? And that's what I'm all about. It's not just banking, right? Look, there's a bank in every corner, right? It's a commodity. Everybody knows that. It's what you do in the community to separate yourself and being authentic, right? And that's what I love about Amerant, and again, Amerant Bank, that they give me that opportunity to go out there and make a difference.
So
And then
I know you're the
Go ahead.
senior VP of sports and entertainment for them. So do you find yourself using the games to meet more people, or do you guys
Well-
use the games to entertain the clientele you
Both.
are in service? Oh,
Both.
both.
It's pretty cool. So, again, being the official bank of the Heat, I'm going to just name, the Heat and the Panthers for now. We use our suites there quite a bit, especially the Panthers. We have a 35-person suite, beautiful center ice, and Jerry Plush, our amazing chairman and CEO. Jerry loves sports. First of all, I just want to say that it makes it easy on me when you have your CEO that loves it and is as passionate about it as I am. We go to the suite all the time, and I can tell you our suite, Bailey, you've been there. Misty, you will be there soon. That is
Yeah.
clean at the arena at Amerant.
I brought a few clients already, so I'm
Yeah,
I'm
so
rocking
it's-
with the Amerant team. I'm already
People
wearing
look
the
around
gear.
and they're starting to get Sweet. So, sometimes we'll have clients who are like, hey, listen, we want to go to a game and, hey, here, thank you for your business. Come by. But there's times when we have a prospect. We're like, hey, listen, do you want to get to meet Jerry and Howard and myself and some of our executive team? What better place than let's go to a game? Let's just
So-
get to us.
Misty, just so you know how I got to know them is through Lisa Caston. She's the chair of our sponsorships and fundraising committee. And Lisa Caston's affiliated with me and the work that I do with NSU Museum Fort Lauderdale. And so she's the one that introduced us to Orly. And then Orly, Amerant Bank, you have to know that on behalf of Kennedy Kids, I'm switching to my Kennedy Kids hat, but on behalf of Kennedy Kids, we really, really appreciate that you guys were our very first title sponsor for any of the events that we've ever organized to date within the time that the foundation's been around. And just that you guys said yes so awesome and easily, it really gave us a lot of hope for the mission and what we're doing, and like being willing to and motivated to open more doors. And so that was such a huge thing for us, that then you also turned around and said, hi, I'd also like to volunteer my time and serve on your
Yes.
board, and then join the sponsorship and fundraising committee. And we can't thank you enough. Robert can't thank you enough on behalf of the whole Bailey family. Just this mission is so near and dear to our heart. And it seems to be happening more and more often in the community. So to tie into that message is like, what tugged on your heartstrings to then make that personal journey about like Orly Garcia joining Kennedy Kids Foundation?
Yeah, no, definitely. Again, I'm going back, I have a daughter and a son, and my daughter went away for college and she struggled. It was hard when she went up there, right? She's alone, new school up in, Massachusetts, and, mental health, right? We were always concerned, oh my God, she's alone, and, maybe there's bullying or this or that or the other. And so for me, when I met you and you started talking about Kennedy Kids and obviously, what Robert had to go through and his family, I thought of, my God, that could be me. That could be any of my friends. That could be any of us, right? And because you don't know what people are going through. And as a father, that's what tugged to my heart. I thought of my daughter, right? Her being alone up there, and then she's home now. She's great. She's just got engaged a couple of weeks ago, which is awesome. My baby girl got engaged, but you think of those things, right? And there were no ulterior motives except I need to be involved with this organization. I need to make a difference. If it's just one child that I could help and get the word out about Kennedy Kids and use my platform, with all the clients I have, athletes and Amerant, right? And for me, it still is. I mean, when I went to Art Basel and you guys were there and Robert got up and spoke and his Kennedy's mom, I was like, I did the right thing. I'm at the right organization for the right reasons. And it's really like, it's something that not completes me, but it's something I want to do. And I didn't know I wanted to do this. I didn't know. I never really thought about it. And once you get involved, it's like, okay, come on, now we're going to do more, right? Now I know we have the pickleball event coming up. And by the way, there's a bunch of NFL players that play pickleball. And, we'll get them involved. So there's a lot of excitement. It's fun, but yet you're making a difference, right? And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about for me, making a difference in your community.
That's amazing. Well, I can't thank you enough. And there's just hearing your story, because a lot of times I'm always the one working, so I don't always get to like sit there and just listen. I could do the hi, hello, how are you? Okay, now yeah.
And you're great at that, by the way.
Huh?
And you're great at that.
Oh, thank you. It's like juggling all the time. So it's like sometimes when we get to hear each other's personal stories one-on-one, we get to learn a little bit more about just why. Yeah. And the why. The why is a big deal. My why is because obviously Kennedy was like my niece. And so I couldn't watch Robert and Tina go through that, knowing the skill level that I had as an event planner to be able to help them, because really at Kennedy Kids Foundation, this is the event. And we actually met Misty through Instagram, and she joined our organization, and she's a celebrity mental health coach. And so she also has ties to the community locally and in the athlete world already. And then she came on board. And ever since she came on board, it's like lightening the load, because she was able to direct us with like what resources for the website, which, by the way, if you're in need of any help, visit our resource page at kennedykids.org. But that page literally was like directed for us with Misty, because we're like, we're here to educate, we're here to help people deal with mental health issues on a day-to-day basis. Do you ever see financial mental health issues through your athletes or clients?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing, because I think one of the top stressors for people is that financial piece. And even when people think you have a lot of money, there could be a lot of pressure to take care of a lot of people and do a lot of things, right?
More money, more problems. Or are we not saying that line anymore?
We can always say that line. That's never going out of style.
Yeah, I'm okay with that problem. Nothing I can do with that. That's fine. But listen, it's one of the things that is really been, I guess, the most gratifying to me. So I'm going to backtrack. When we formed the sports and entertainment division, obviously we have, the Heat, the Panthers, yada, 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 which is amazing. I mean, it's got an Amerant's name out there. It really has. And everyone's like, aren't you the bank of the Panthers? And for me, it's been godsend. It's been amazing. And for Jerry in our bank. But what I've enjoyed the most is meeting players. And I'm going to give an example. I'm not going to mention the player. I literally just hung up and I had to rush him because I had a gentleman that plays in the NFL with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Won't mention his name. And he's like, somebody told me to call you, another player, regarding a mortgage. And I go, hold on, let me loop in my mortgage guy, Eddie Padron, who does all the mortgages for us. He works for Amerant. And what do you want? Well, I want an FHA loan. Eddie and I got on the phone. We're like, no, you need to do this, this, and this. And the guy's working with a mortgage broker. And okay, we didn't tell him, come to Amerant, whatever. Here's advice. Okay, is your broker charging XYZ? He goes, yeah. We're like, well, if you go directly to a bank, any bank, you're going to save on these fees because you're going through a middleman. And plus, they can do XYZ. So long story short, this young man on the practice squad, his first home, he was lost. And he called me for advice because another player told him to call me for advice. And we gave it to him. More than likely, I had to leave the call. He's probably going to come over to Amerant. He's going to bank with us. Because, by the way, we just opened a new headquarters in the Tampa Bay market. So we're expanding north.
Small Amerant plug. We're going to have to make a sponsor of this episode.
I'm in Tampa, so the point is he's a Tampa Bay Buck. I'm like, dude, we just opened a branch down the street, literally from the stadium. But that helps. So he was stressed out. Can I buy this house? My fiance is going to be blah, blah, blah. You can't if you do X, Y, Z. So every day I encounter different athletes, Bailey and Misty, either like very successful guys that you wouldn't know their names. They're like, okay, these guys don't have issues. I have all this money, OG. What do I do with it? Well, I'm not a financial advisor, but we have a team of financial advisors. Talk to them, let them guide you. Or listen, my credit is not good right now. I have a lot of money. My credit is dog poop. What can I do? Well, if you do raise your scores, there's an opportunity for you to, to get money for us to be able to lend to you. So we do that every single day. I could probably get like 10 calls a day with guys that are stressed out. Again, you would think they're macho men, they're strong, they're big. No, not all of them. I mean, they are.
They
huge.
are,
Well,
but I think
well,
when it
size
comes
has
to
nothing to do with emotions. We've talked about this on the show before.
Yes. They're regular people.
I mean, they can. If we're
right. You know what? You
Oh,
think?
no. I was
Bailey's being Bailey.
Yeah, I was side-eyeing Misty. I was like, well, size can impact emotions, but we'll talk about that later.
They call us, sometimes down in the dumps, like, hey man, what do I do next? That's another question. I finished playing ball. That's all I know how to do. I'm a ball player. I was a great ball player.
That's a huge thing that we see that a lot of people don't really talk about, Orly. So like, how do you help when someone comes to you that, like, buying a home is extremely stressful, especially for the first time when you know like nothing, right? And so you have to kind of learn that. So that's stressful for sure. When you come and I'm not saying one stress is more stressful than the other, right? But it's a huge thing when they're making this transition. How do you guys help them with that? I'm super curious.
So it's funny you ask. So one of the things that again, the question I get all the time is, hey man, how'd you get into banking? Right? Or how did you become get into sports and entertainment? And I give them my path, right? I've been in banking for 25 years. I started in mortgages, and over the last year and a half, I transitioned over to sports entertainment for the reason of helping some of my friends that I did mortgages for that were struggling, help them with their finances in a safe place, right? Someone they could trust. So to this morning, I literally have a meeting with someone here, Christy Amaro, who's our Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. And I'm like, how can we build an internship program at Amerant for athletes? I mean, think about that, right? A lot of these guys want to get into banking. So banking is there's a myriad of things. You got banking, you got mortgage, you got, credit, you got compliance, you got commercial banking. So how can we create a platform for these guys? Okay, maybe they're done playing, but they want to get into banking. You can't just walk into a bank and say, here, I want to apply. You're not going to get a job. What's your resume? NFL player, baseball player. So if we could create a curriculum, which we started working on today, we built a pretty robust draft. How can we take that on the street and say, hey, listen, Amerant Bank is going to be your bank of choice for the athletes. So if they do want to get into the financial sector, how can we help them with that? So that's, like
That's
that
amazing.
I know, I love that.
just by guys asking me, oh, gee, how can I get into Amerant? Well, bro, like right now you can't, and I'm like, Christy, how can we do this? And literally, there's a reason I'm in Miramar today in our office was because of that. So we could build that curriculum. Again, you got to think of the future when these, because the average, and I'm going to use NFL real quick, right?
Yeah.
Average players, 3.5 years, maybe 4. 80% of them, or maybe even higher, the stat is, I believe, are bankrupt by the time they retire. A couple years after they retire.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. So if they find a career in banking or something, whatever it is, but I'm going to use banking because I'm in banking. My God, how amazing is that? And then what happens? They could play it forward, right? Because then they could get the rookies there in the league and say, hey, dude, by the time you're done, why don't you look at getting into banking and you have a solid career? It's a nice job, benefits, yada, yada, yada. And you could take care of your family after, it's done, right? The lights turn off and you're not at the arena or the stadium anymore. Now what? So those are the things that I could tell you that we think of at Amerant. We're forward thinking, the organization is, and again, it starts at the top because it starts with Jerry, and that's what he wants. He wants us to be the bank of choice, but to be out in the community again. That
community part's huge, and the fact that you guys even have a program or thought that far forward for an area that I don't feel like gets a whole lot of attention.
I don't know about anybody that's doing that right now. I mean, and Jerry, I know if you're listening, you haven't even heard this yet. Like, this is something we're gonna. Yeah, sorry, boss, but I mean, I think this is amazing. Like, we have to make a difference, right? Because time and time again, you see athletes that they're done, NBA players. I mean, I know you probably have a bunch of stories, Bailey, the same thing. These guys don't know what to do afterwards. So, for every Jamal Mashburn, there's a kid that is stuck, or it's like, what do I do now?
Yeah, for every Jamal Mashburn, there's 5,000 kids out of the
at least.
Another thing real quick that we talked about it, and again, this is, we could go down a rabbit hole, but how about these kids in NIL right now that are in college? What about them? These children, they're children that are in college that are getting paid sometimes millions. What are they going to do with that money? How are they going to handle that money? What about the mental stress? Who's handling? Is it their parents? Is it the girlfriend? Is it the aunt, the grandmother? Because you know what happens, right? Then they get taken advantage of. So again, we need to make sure that we educate these young people so they know that when they're done with their college career, already making money, because it's a whole new world now with NIL.
Like, why not though go in at like the high school level before they get it, so they already prepared? Because it's like it's the craziest thing to me that no one is equipped leaving high school on how to bank or finance or credit manage.
I don't even know how to make a budget
or none of it, or budget,
nothing.
or none of it. Like, not a single person.
Nothing.
Like, the banking people should really like.
And then you can go and get all these credit cards. You can go get a car you have no business. You could qualify for, but you have no business paying. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't even have a job, but you got a
going back to the Alec Ingold you mentioned at the very beginning.
Yes.
Look, I want to share this because it's really important. So Alec, amazing player, Dolphins, starting fullback number 30, one of the kindest human beings you ever meet. Alec went up through grew up through foster care, and he was adopted. And his mission is to help these kids. So what we did is, with financial literacy, with the help of Christy and the team, we put together this badass curriculum. We had about 20 kids. We taught them from writing a check. These were like high schoolers. I think it was 14 to 17, how to write a check, how to interview. We did mock interviews, how to write resumes. We did this whole playbook, which we have, and I'll share it. So we want to mirror that, right, with other organizations. Like, we did the playbook, it's there. And all this was volunteer hours. Like, we spent, like, I think 6 months putting this together after hours. Our team, our retail team would, I'm going to applaud them. They did the heavy lifting. And we came out with that, and we're like, oh my God, I remember that day vividly. These kids were like, wow. And then we gave, them tickets to a Dolphin game, those that did the best resume or the best mock interviews. But going back to what you're saying, we need to get these children early in the process.
Yeah. And you know what I love about this?
On the Department of Education, I don't know how much longer they'll exist, but like, you
that's
should
for a
gang up
different
on
day.
the Department of Education and literally like go against the schools and the counties and be like, hey, this needs to be a class, like it's some sort of course that it covers that at least in 12th grade.
Yeah.
So that, because most of them turn 18 there, they get the credit card. And then most of them know they're getting drafted at that point. Like, if they're
but you know what I love about this too, is that not only for athletes and NIL and your average teen out there, I love what you were saying about that camp that you did, Orly, because I think that the more knowledge and experience you have, it builds your confidence, and confidence boosts your mental health. It all ties together. So when you're a kid, and I come from, that's how when I struggled with the most. I still have my days, but when I struggled with my mental health, it was like, I felt like I had no direction. I wasn't worth anything. I didn't know anything. Like, I was so low. I had no confidence. I never thought like anything was going to get better. But if you have someone to believe in you and say, look, let me teach you these skills, and yes, you can do this, life makes a little bit more sense, and it builds your confidence. And so I think that these things that you're doing make such a big impact. And so
you could see, thank you. It's funny because when we that day was a Saturday, and I remember we started in, different tables, and all the kids were quiet, like always, quiet, and here this workbook, and they're like, okay, another Saturday, I have to do it. I'm going to tell you, by the end of the day, they were dancing, they were singing, they were we would put, whatever boards up and write stuff down, and they were all running and competitive. And I was like, my God, like, remember when they got here to the end, the confidence that those kids had, and how they rooted for each other, right? That's another thing. A lot of them didn't know each other. Different, tables, they were like really quiet and reserved. I mean, these are foster care children that I can only imagine what they've been through. And at the end of the day, they were like so pumped. Like, I did an interview, and, and I filled out my form, and, so again, all of us collectively, us on this call, those of you that are watching this podcast, we need to make a difference, right? Amerant's doing it, but we all need to do it. We all need to do our part, because forget about the future. The future is now, right? It's happening right now, and the world is evolving. Again, I used NIL as an example, but things are happening. Social media, I mean, how many things are out there, right, that can affect your mental health, especially at that age that kids are so vulnerable. And athletes, I mean, again, being in sports and entertainment, some of the guys I have or I bank, or I know, I see them like put some BS on social media, and I'll text them like, dude, like, take that shit off. Like,
you're messing with your money.
Like, what are you doing? Whatever you put out there, you out there, right?
Yeah.
It's your reputation, right? And you got to be cognizant of that. You can't just go start putting stuff, like, you got to be responsible for your actions. So what I'm saying,
there's no class on that either. There's nothing keeping them up. Like, everybody's just
by the way, we spoke about that too, social media.
Yeah, but I was going to say, everyone just keeps pushing out content in schools about the history. Let's talk about the history. Let's talk about the history. No, let's talk about what they need tomorrow. Like, because what we were using in history, like, you don't want to give your kids social media. We're going to make a rule that they can't start using it till 16. Well, then your kid's going to be way behind every other kid that's been practicing social media for the last 10 years. Like when your kid finally turns on, your kid's not even going to know how to work it, and they won't even have anybody to ask because every other kid's going to be so far ahead. So I'm with you on like, while you were talking about this program and then Misty's question, I'm like, there should be some sort of program that we could push out and add to our mental health. Because Misty, you had made the comment about this financial piece and how it impacts your mental health. And if you'd had some of that, it like increases your level of confidence. And
Yeah.
on my side, I say it also gives you more to do, because then you start planning the future. You start looking
Exactly.
ahead because you have the
Exactly.
tools to look ahead with. So let's add this to the seed program we're trying to create in the Teen Ambassador program. So it has a financial literacy component.
Literacy.
Thank you, Orly. And then
You're
Orly can like spearhead that with Amerant, because I remember Christy from your team as well. Isn't she over that piece?
Yeah, she is, and you met her. So look, it's about how can we help, right? Where can we fill in a hole that's needed out in the community? And it all ties in with mental health, because again, you're struggling financially, you're in a mental pitfall and whatever. Again, athletes, people, it's funny because I'm blessed to be able to hang out with such amazing athletes, and you think they're supermen or superwomen. They're not. They're very vulnerable. They're actually extremely vulnerable when you get to know them. And I know it's a cliche, unpeel the onion, but when you unpeel it, you're like, that person's hurting. Like they need someone to talk to. Forget just not financial. They need somebody to talk to as a friend, because a lot of people don't want to approach I'm going to just say Jamal Mashburn, because Jamal Mashburn, like, I'm not going to talk to him. Yeah, maybe if you talk to me,
Yeah.
he's a pretty cool
Yeah.
guy.
But this is really interesting point that you're making, Orly, because I think one of the things here is you have to earn trust.
Bingo. That's it. Trust is everything, especially, I'll say with professional athletes. You guys know, you mean you live it. Everybody wants a piece of you, Bailey. You know this very well. Everybody wants a piece of you when you're a pro athlete, and you got to work with someone or people that you trust and know are out for you for the betterment of whatever you're looking to do, not just to get your money and say, hey, come and bank at Amerant or come and buy a Lexus or whatever it is. It's got to be people that you trust, right? That I always say you have to have a really tight inner circle. Yeah, you could have your posse and your people and all that, but you got to be tight. And I think that's something that I'm trying to convey to these guys when I talk to them is be careful who you hang out with. You got to trust who you're with, because I got to have your best interest, not their best interest, because sometimes it's the opposite. You think, oh, they're looking out for me. No, man, they're looking out for themselves because they want to mooch off of whatever you have. And I think it's so important. So that goes hand in hand. I know it's not really financial, but emotional part of what I do is talking to these young men and women and helping them understand, because stuff that I've been through, stuff that I still go through, right, on a day to day. I don't know it all. You guys don't know it all, but how can we help? And I want to go back real quick, Misty. I was at an event a couple weeks ago that Misty attended, and we were there. There was a panel. It was like a Shark Tank event, pretty cool. And I'm out there networking and meeting people. And Misty's, like, by the way, she's amazing. She's right there too and talking to people. And I just wanted to tell you, like, you were amazing that day. And that's the first time. Are you outside of Kennedy Kids out there with me and mingling and talking? And that was pretty cool. So I just want to, before I forget it, I wanted to give you that.
Oh, that's so nice.
Thank you.
So nice.
It's conversations, right? I mean, we're just having conversations with people, and I absorbed some of your energy that day, because you always show up, you always bring it, you're never in a bad mood, you're always joking. And so, I know that really, I appreciate that. But I think, you being you and being yourself, we've talked about that with other people on this show, is that authenticity piece and showing up as yourself. And then that's how you build relationships. And so, you were talking about trust and how you help people. So I'm wondering, you don't have to name names, what is one of the most impactful ways or memories that you had, like a story of somebody that came to you? They had maybe they were an athlete or whatever it was, and they came to you and they had this problem. Maybe you had to earn their trust. Like, what's one of like the top memories that you have?
I mean,
of the ways that you've helped somebody.
There's been so many. Actually, a lot of them have happened this year. There was a player, a pretty prominent player that I met through a friend. Big name, and I'm like, they're like, hey, listen, you should speak, Orly, you should speak to whoever, regarding, some banking or whatever. I'm like, I don't know, man. This guy's a baller. Like, I don't know if he's gonna want to talk to me, and whatever. They make the intro via text. I introduced myself. The individual was a little standoffish, short, which I get. He's up there, and I was this OG guy, and so
Who's OG?
yeah, who's this OG you speak
Who's
of?
this OG you speak
Who's this OG you speak of? And I'm like, okay, wait till you meet me. You're really gonna see who's this OG. You know what? Look, I kept texting. I'm like, okay, let's go meet. Let's grab a bite. Let's actually breakfast. And we did, and we spoke. We spoke about life, family. We didn't talk about banking at all, like at all. And about 2 hours in, he's like,
2 hours.
2 hours, true story. He's like, I think you were gonna ask me about banking, about my accounts, and to move them over. I go, no, you know what I do, because obviously they introduced you to me. I'm at Amerant, I'm a banker, so you already know who I am. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know you, not how many millions you have in the bank, how many zeros are behind your account. That's beautiful. I want to get to know you, man. And the guy was like, dude, no one's ever said that to me. Everybody is, what do you bank? What accounts you have? I'm like, you know what I do. If you want to bank with me, you're going to call me. He's a client today, and we're good friends. And it's that it could take 2 hours, it could take 4 hours, but it's those 2 hours that I spent with this individual were totally immersed in him and what he was telling me. I hardly said a word. I wanted to listen and, talk about you. I know about his family, where he grew up, and the trials and tribulations that they had. And then I explained to him, listen, I'm an immigrant. My parents came from Cuba, so it's kind of similar. They came from another country. And I go, I get it. Like, I get what you've been through, and I feel you, except I'm not a professional athlete. I almost played in the NBA once, but I didn't want to. Bailey, why are you laughing? Was that funny, Bailey? I could have been a point guard. Muggsy Bogues was 5'3".
How tall you are.
5'3". On a good day.
I'm like, okay, all right, Orly. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have laughed that hard.
No, I love it.
I live in 6'9" land on a daily basis.
Well, you also
so
have
when you
20.
said-
Yeah, you have a 6'9" husband, and your heels are like 20 inches tall. But that was
Yeah, and Bailey's following herself.
Yeah.
that was your thall. But look,
I was
it's
like,
getting,
What?
it's getting,
I was like,
that
hang
feeling.
on, let me call Asia Wilson and let her I just gotta let her know what you just said. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
So it's building that mystery is getting in there and listening, right? I think the key to everything is listening, and you don't have to sell yourself. You have to sell your wares. You have to sell who you are as a person. I think that's important. What you still laughing?
Can't get over it. Pull yourself together.
Yeah,
man.
I'm gonna buy like a formal
I'm
speak. Maybe it pops up to 8. I think Amazon.
I'm sorry, that totally caught me off guard. I'm trying to let it go, man, but
short, and I was getting these things to buy those platforms inside the shoes. I'm gonna buy some, so next time I meet you, it could be 6'2".
There.
I'm back.
Problem solved.
Sorry.
But and then real quick,
Yeah. Problem solved.
a quick story about. I'm gonna use Alec. This is really quick. So I saw Alec Ingold.
Oh, you have time. You don't got to speed it up. This is our show. Take your
This
time.
is true.
Go ahead.
I got the two OGs for real here. So I had seen Alec post something on Instagram, right? He did a commencement speech for I think it was Miami-Dade College. This was a Saturday. I'm at home. I'm like, I know he's a Dolphins fullback, number 30. I'm a big Dolphin fan, as you guys know. And I'm like, damn, this kid's like freaking good. Like, he was authentic. I went on LinkedIn and I messaged him. Hey, Alec, this is Orly Garcia from Amerant Bank, Sports and Entertainment. Wow, man, that was amazing. I would love to meet up with you one day. I live in Pembroke Pines. I'm thinking 90% of the time you do that, they're going to be like, whatever.
Nobody answers. Right.
Less than 10 minutes later, my phone popped LinkedIn.
Oh.
Hey, Orly, this is Alec Ingold. I too live in Pembroke Pines. What are you doing tomorrow morning? I'm like, I don't know, what do you want? Let's go meet for breakfast at I go there quite a bit. I'm like, dude, that's down the street from my house. Long story short, we met that Sunday morning, off season. we spent, again, probably a couple hours, and, I heard about his life and being adopted and everything. And I'm like, dude, you're amazing. Not only are you're amazing, I think your story should be shared at Amerant with our leadership team, like we and our teammates, right? Of everything you overcame, being a free agent, going to the Raiders, not getting drafted, then tearing your ACL, and being a fullback in a league that there aren't many fullbacks being adopted, and yet you're so confident and you're always giving back. So long story short, Alec and I became brothers, and last year he was here and he attended, meetings with our teammates, and he shared his book, The Seven Crucibles, by the way, which is an amazing book. And yeah, that's a plug. I'll get you guys copies. It is the most amazing
Yes,
book.
please.
It's a short read, but there you go, another short term. But it's amazing. But Alec came in here and he inspired our teammates, right? We gotta have some humor. We're getting too serious. But it's amazing how you meet, great people, right? So no, I can't stop laughing.
No, but it's great. It's great.
No,
but it's
Can we
but
give
the-
Alex room?
but you were-
Alex, welcome to come on
Yeah.
our show. Like,
Yeah.
we'd love to hear your story and
did
talk to you.
message, and
So,
Alec, if you're listening, he's
Yeah.
gonna be on your podcast.
we'd
Yeah,
love to
and
have
you
him
want-
on
And
the
he has
podcast.
one as well. Yeah, he's amazing.
And yes, please do send the book because I definitely would need to read it before
When
we.
you guys want to talk about peeling back the layers, Orly is very funny. So
Yes.
the more time you spend chatting with him, you realize like, oh my gosh, she's hilarious. Like you did something to me at that event that you were talking about that I thought I like messed up, and then you started dying laughing. And I was like,
Oh, I cried.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I could. I could go. I could do stand up. Get it.
you could.
He's still
Or I could do sit.
running
Or I
off
could do
these
sit
height
down.
jokes, and people that don't know you and have never met you don't realize what 5'3" really feels like. It's like your height jokes are hysterical, and
Because I'm
I've never
short,
known
I've always
anyone
been
short to
short.
make so many height jokes in my
Because-
life.
because
I
I've
love
never
how
been
confident you
tall.
are with it.
I'm
It's
very
just funny.
confident. White.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have the personality I have if I was 6'2". Think about it,
Oh, true.
right?
Yeah, we,
I mean,
we
come on, you
might not
tell
like
me.
you.
Be a pain in the ass. I
Yeah,
got
see?
10 years.
See?
No, I'm like cool and look, again, life is too short. So you have, okay, that's it. No more. But listen, at the end of but I'm Bob. I mean, who's the one who would do like a stat? We could go to the improv and do like some, comedy. We would be really good if we did that. It's all about being, I think, Misty, you did say this earlier, or Bailey, or both of you. It's about being authentic. I'm Orly. I'm like this, and Bailey, you've gotten to know me pretty well. I'm like this all the time. I'm like this at
Yeah.
home.
I can say
And
that
look at
since
that.
I've met you, it's been continuously like the more you hang out with him, the more you end up laughing. And it's just like you're talking the whole time. There's no like trying to figure out what to say. It's just like constant, easy conversation. And
You don't want to know what's up
so
here.
comfortable. What'd you say?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know, what's up here is terrible. But I'm like that. Look, I'm like that here at work. I respect people. I'm like that with Jerry. He's amazing with me. And with our leadership team here, look, you got to be yourself. You can't fake it, because then you're not real. You're not authentic. And when you meet these players or people that you want to help, like again, in our positions, right? Positions of people that they look up to, we got to be real. You can't
Yeah.
bullshit your way. I
Yeah.
think that's important.
Yeah. No, and you definitely are. And I will say that you have such a gift at helping people feel comfortable and being real and having those real conversations. And I'll tell you really quickly. So my husband met you for the first time at the Kennedykins end of the year event. And we leave and he goes, man, that Orly guy, like, he's really cool. I really like that guy. Normally when we leave these things and I leave my husband to chat with somebody, he's like, that person is so full of shit. And like, da 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 da. You know what I mean? Because he's like, he's in like, everyone's in like their business mode trying to like, be them best selves or whatever. And he didn't feel that way with you. So I think you have like this amazing gift of
You know what my
making
boss
people feel
says?
comfortable.
Howard, who Bailey has met, he's amazing. He's the one that brought me here to Amerant. He says, people like you, and I go, why, boss? He goes, because you're non-threatening. So that's another inside joke. And I don't know if it's non-threatening or whatever, but it's just, look, you got to make people feel comfortable. And because I always I look at people, I'm like, how do I want to be treated, right? You don't want to walk into a meeting and be a robot and be your typical banker with the tie on. Hi, I'm with Amerant Bank, and here's what we have. Like, yeah, I could do that. And we do talk about banking, and obviously that's what we do for a living, and we're really damn good at it. But people got to get to know you, right? They got to get to know Bailey. Like, what is this Bailey chick all about? I see her all the time and dressed to the nines and looking like
yeah.
a diva. I mean, you do dress
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. But then you have a
That's why I posted
conversation with her and she's super easy to talk to too. Like,
she's a trip. The first time I met her, like within 30 seconds, she threw the F-bomb out. And right then and there, I'm like, had me at hello. Like, that was it. Like, I love this chick. I don't know her. I love her, Jamal Mashburn. I love you, bro. Don't kick my ass, but I love your wife. Amazing. She threw an F-bomb. I'm like, dude, she's real. That right then and there, it's like diffused the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have
Thank
to be
you.
authentic in what we do. Right, look, there's a place and a time for everything. You can't be in a serious meeting, but how you doing? Well, fuck you. No, but
I don't know. I don't agree with that because I'm like, if I'm my authentic self, it literally doesn't matter what place and what time I'm
No.
at. Because I'm the same person in every
no,
place.
you are. I'm pretty much like that 99%.
you really are, Bailey.
I don't
No,
think
you
I could
really
be
are.
boardroom and
That is
speak, but
it's the weirdest thing to say and to hear myself say it out loud but I feel like I really just don't adjust. I might turn the volume down a little bit, but I'm not going to be any different than normal. And I think I'm just so used to talking like that. Like I feel like the swear words are just regular extra descriptive. They're action words, they're verbs for me. Like they are just regular descriptors. And the emphasis when you get to say the word fuck on something, it just changes the energy of what you're talking about. So I don't say it to be like demeaning or degrading or sound uneducated. Like I just like it just sounds so much better because I'm trying to give you in the real life, the authentic truth of the whatever I'm trying to explain to you. And so, that's just one of my
and
favorites.
thank God you don't speak Spanish, because when you curse in Spanish, it sounds so much better.
Oh,
Like
it
it's
does?
just like, oh my God, it's like I'm not gonna do that now, but like
No,
when
no,
it-
no.
no, but like
I don't
like
know how
it's more like
Spanish audiences either.
it's more like whatever, like really like that's my
Yeah.
wife
Well,
curses
listen,
me out in
my
Spanish.
My
like that.
husband's Cuban, so when I hear him start going off, it sounds like one
Then
long
you know.
word. It's one
Oh, no,
long word,
It is,
and it's like
It sounds
I have no idea
cool.
what's happening.
but it's bad.
Mentally healthy for me as well to release exactly what it is and how it is in the most authentic form of whatever it is I'm delivering the message wise. It's so mentally healthy to just be able to be yourself and swear and release the weight of everybody else's perception and thought process of how you're supposed to be in a certain situation.
And if you don't swear too, like
yeah.
then be that person too, right?
Right.
Like,
So
Yeah, whatever.
for me, it's like,
I'm not that person, but if you're that person, be that person.
right. Because otherwise, if I present this like tied with a bow situation to you, and then 3 months later you hear me cursing, you're like, oh, she must be really upset. Because
She about
she just started cursing. But if I'm just like my regular, this is how I talk all the time, nothing's a surprise to you later on. And then, oh, I thought she was something totally different. Bitch, I was the same.
I can vouch. 30 second thing. You can vouch. It took like 30 seconds, maybe even less. I'm giving 30 seconds. I'm being generous. Look, I think the common theme that we've discussed, we talked about a lot of things, but being authentic, right? I think like that's something we've talked about a lot today. And again,
And
authentic and listening, intentional,
building trust, right?
building
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah.
That is life. I mean, think about it. If everyone could do that, and then obviously that goes hand in hand with giving back. And giving back can mean so many things. It depends on who you are, where you are in your life, or whatever it could be. It could be donating a toy, whatever it is. But I think we have the responsibility. And the older I've gotten, I never thought of that. It was always about me, and what can I do for Orly? And it's like, no, I want to help. Like I want to help Kennedy kids. I want to help Alec Ingold Foundation. I want to help others, Haley Hunt, the Verb Time. I could go on and on and on. There's so many amazing people that we could help just by one conversation at a time. I think that's important, right? And it all ties in with mental health, because every single one of us I don't care if you have billions, millions, thousands, or pennies, all of us are struggling in one way or another with something, either health or whatever it is, work, and we got to help. We have to help. And all I do is use the vehicle behind me that gives me that support, and I'm not sucking up to the company. I've never been that way.
No, I love that your
There
job
is-
allows for this too.
I love this organization. Like I love it. It's unlike any place I've worked. I've always worked for big banks where they do the diversity thing just because they have to, right? It's check, or God in the community, check. No, we don't do that. We literally go out hand in hand with our community partners, and we want to make a difference, right? And we want to be the bank of choice because, like Howard Levine says all the time, you heard him say it at our get together, Bailey. Banking is a commodity. There's a bank in every freaking corner. Like, why would you bank with Amerant? Well, because of Orly, the relationship you have with him, because of Howard, because of Jerry, because of Christy, yada yada yada.
Yeah, because I can't tell you right now that I know anybody that works at Wells Fargo by name.
What
I
what
I'm
bank is there?
and I was at Wells Fargo for before I switched to Amerant, I was at Wells Fargo for 30 years. So I'm just
And look,
I
no knock on
probably
those banks,
don't
but
know
they're
the name
big.
of a single person at my bank.
You get a text. I mean, we text
Yeah.
every day.
No,
Like-
no.
Like,
Yeah.
OG, I need a wire transfer. Like, I get clients every football player. OG, can you send a wire? Can you send it a wire? It's 10 o'clock at night. Well, I'll get it first thing in the morning. So whatever. The point is, we got to be in the community, and I think that's what separates all of us on this call, right? Honestly,
Yeah.
we love to give back. I mean, again, I just met Misty, and I feel like I've known her for 20 years. Like, I mean, she's amazing, like amazing. And we need more Misties and more Baileys out there in the world to make a difference. And
Well,
Robert,
think
I know Robert's not here.
Yeah, he's not here today. He had an emergency with one of his players that is
I'll talk about another guy
that
that I just fell in love with. What an amazing human being. Like the first time I
Isn't he
spoke to
great?
him. No,
Yeah.
beyond. Like
He's
I
the
love the guy. Like I'll do
I've been
anything.
friends with him for so long, and we fight like cats and dogs.
You know, at first I got confused because
and he's the only person okay, 2 seconds after the fight, we're like, okay, so what are we gonna do next about this? And it's just the wildest relationship, but it's been so
Just
good.
like
I
now
just
with the
wanna go
Bailey
back
and
really
I'm
quick
Robert
to-
Bailey. Like I thought you guys were related somewhere at the beginning. I'm like Bailey, but whatever.
I was
we call
confused
each
too.
other yeah, we call
Yeah,
each
'cause
other
you call-
brother and
yeah.
sister, but my first
You
name
two
is
Missy?
Bailey.
Yeah.
His last name is Bailey.
No, I know, but at the beginning I'm like Bailey. Okay, they brought. I
No,
think you were
no.
brothers.
Yeah, and then you call each other brother and sister. So now I'm trying to work this whole equation out in my
I know.
head.
And I
Yeah.
see Brooks, and I said, "That-
The first time I ever met him, he shook my hand. Someone introduced us at a wedding. He shook my hand and he goes, "Oh my God, if you were my wife, you'd be Bailey." Bailey? It was
That's
it was
hilarious.
so funny. It was so funny. But I really want to go real quick back to something that you said, Orly, because I think it's important just in regards to mental health. Is you were saying about how giving back, and at one point you were like me, and I think that's a lot. That's 90% of the world is everyone is in this me mode because they're tracking their likes and their shares and on social media. And it's been about how much attention one person can get. But if everybody really listened to what you'd said about giving back, I think people would find more positive mental health situations erupting in their lives because of all of the giving back that they've been doing and all they're contributing. So if everyone just found an organization to attach to or volunteer for, they'd start seeing how much more you help other people actually helps you as well. And then you start to feel better about life. You start to feel happier. You start to walk around lighter
And
with a bigger purpose.
Right. And we can take that even make it more simple, right? I'm actually writing, so I do a weekly newsletter and I'm writing about this. Let's make it even more simple. I'm going to use something you said, Orly. And by the way, before I bring this up, I do want to say that when you're saying that you guys are sponsoring, for example, the 5K, you're not just throwing your name on a banner. You were there. You were there the entire time. You helped out. You were super engaged. You were involved.
He was
You
so
weren't just
excited.
I was.
it was
drenched.
more than just
was
a
so-
name on a banner. And I think that's just that spoke so loudly to me. You know what I mean? It's just so important. And so, but I want to just go back to something that you said, which I love, is that we help one conversation at a time. So maybe you're not in a place in your life to get involved in an organization. Have a conversation, take something from this and have a conversation with somebody and just listen.
We suck as humans at listening. We do. We're programmed that way. Because again, it's all about. I have a friend of mine. I met her about a year ago. Real quick story. This was this is profound for me. I met her. She sat down. Beautiful woman, smart, sat down. Somebody introduced me to her. It was in the Gables. And she grabbed my hand, nothing bad. She goes, I'm going to just tell you right now, I have an agenda right off the bat. But I'm like, okay, weird. No one's ever told me that. And then she explained what her agenda was. And I get it. She wanted to meet somebody that I knew. But I go, you know what? I respect the shit out of you because you actually came here. You said, look, I have an agenda. Here's my agenda. And I kept thinking about that. All of us have an agenda. I mean, if you really think, we all have an agenda, right? What's the agenda for getting on the podcast? We want to share what's happening with mental health and how we can make a difference, really make a difference. But everyone has an agenda. What separates, not the good and bad, because it's not that they're bad, is what do you use that agenda for? Again, are you using that agenda for me? Or are you using that agenda to help others benefit? Well, you could benefit as well. I could put a post on LinkedIn talking about OG sports and entertainment because I want, Amerant to get more clients. Of course,
Yeah.
that's how I make a living. That's how, our bank earns money. So that's my agenda. But also the agenda there is for someone who needs banking, an athlete or whoever, to see that post and like, let me call Orly and have that discussion. That maybe that one person I changed their life, maybe they got $20 in their account. It's not like it's going to make a difference. Bless you, by the way. Damn, girl. Right?
Thank you. I sneeze like a sprinkler system.
I think I saw it. No, I'm kidding. But like, what is your agenda? How do you use it? Right. So I think that's something that we all need to work on as humans is, yes, you can use the agenda for yourself, but then, like I need to get in front of people. You guys know that. I want to bank people. I want to, that's how I make a living, but do it the right way. Right. Don't just go in there. It's like, yeah, I'm a banker, but bring it to Amerant. No, don't. Or I'm Misty Buck, mental health expert. Let me get on all your calls. No, do it right. You get to have it's the truth. I'm Bailey Mashburn. I'm a fashionista, like, I'm a wedding planner. I do it all. And by the way, the other day, the picture that you and I took.
I do it all. That's my line.
At the Amerant
That is your line.
we took, well, you had, I think it was a Fendi like sweater and the hat. Dude, I got so many comments
yeah.
that day. There, like, I had like people like, damn, OG, who's that? Like, that's my friend. That's Bailey. No, that night you were like on point. But I'm just letting you know. Sorry, Jamal.
No, it's all right. That was like, for me, that was a 15-minute outfit. That's what I threw together last minute because the outfit that I tried to wear before I left the house, I've lost like 30 pounds in the last 12 months and it was 2 sizes too big. It was terrible. So I had to throw something together and it just worked out. And
it worked.
Like, I was, oh my God, this worked out.
This is
because usually I do put a lot of work into, like, when I get dressed, I put a lot of work into it. Like, I'm 2 hours, I'm thinking about it 2 weeks before. Like, I think about the whole thing. What did I wear around this group last time so I could repurpose something, or do I need to shop? Like, no, I literally every time I step out the house, except for like, flip flop day and like dance class and drop my kid to school. But like, we're going to an event, I'm showing up correct every time.
And I see you on the sideline now that we have those, Jerry has those badass seats and I see you there. I'm like, so that's why you zoom in. I always take the photo. I'm like, damn, look at Bailey.
I love those photos, by the way. Thank you. I love those. They're awesome. Keep sending them to me. They're so fabulous.
Those are pretty
But
great.
no, but to be honest, like,
he's the selfie king.
Tie it
This
back
guy.
into mental health. Well, to tie it back to mental health, though, that is what I loved. Like, if you ask me one of the things I love to do, getting dressed up, I actually
mental health.
don't enjoy the event as much as I enjoy getting ready. Huh?
I know. I go, that doesn't have to do with mental health. Like, I think if you don't feel good about yourself, no, I'm saying it does have to do with mental health. If you don't feel good about yourself, you're gonna dress
Oh yeah.
like whatever. Look, I like me when I like wearing, like today I did this on purpose for the podcast, but like I'm always with a suit on. You want to look good, right? Because you feel good, you want to look good. I think that's part of your mental health as well. I mean, that's just my opinion. So
Yeah, no, it's like one of my favorite things to do is get dressed. So I put a lot of effort and time into it.
and my hair too.
Yeah. Yes, you're always coming clean. All right, Misty, are you gonna rapid fire him before we wrap?
Yeah. So we always like to do a fun question at the end. I don't know what kind of music that you listen to. Normally, everything. Okay. So typically, Robert started this. We're gonna continue. Since you say you listen to everything, normally what we ask our guests, sometimes we throw a spin on it, but normally what we ask is, who are your top 5 rap artists?
Oh, it's fine.
Eminem. No, I love Eminem. What'd you say?
Someone finally said it. We haven't had anybody really name him in there. Well, maybe last week's guest did, but I don't think.
No, we had to, I think we had to throw it in.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, Eminem. Okay, so
I love Eminem, Kendrick Lamar. I love well, I guess Usher wouldn't be a rapper, so he's not a rapper. I love Post Malone. Like, can you count him as a rapper? I guess ish. I love Post Malone. Count him as a rapper. I like Way Back, Two Life Crew, Luther Campbell,
we haven't had that one yet either. Wow.
Uncle Luke.
Ooh,
I mean,
that's fire right
think,
there.
I think he's
Uncle
amazing. Yeah, Uncle Luke. I'm probably dating myself. Jay-Z. You know, like I literally, like if you look at my, I'm looking at my phone, my Spotify, I have them all. Like I was literally, like jamming with others. Now Rod Wave. By the way, I didn't know who he was until. Oh my God! So let's see what we got here. I got right now Swag Surfing Fly. I was jamming to that earlier today.
That's the Rod Wave joint.
You know, and then I got. Oh, have you guys heard of Teddy Swims?
Yes. I actually have a ballroom dance choreographed routine to that one song that I love that I play 1,000 times over and over again every day.
For sure do.
I've been jamming to him lately. The Weeknd, Dancing in the Flames, Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, Die with a Smile. This is what I listened to today. So what else? Teddy Swims again, like Lose Control. That's a great song. DJ Fluke, Seven Nation Army. Have you heard of that?
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Then I wanted a little Oreo Speedwagon.
Oh,
Taking
here
a
we go.
baby.
Here we go. Here
I
we
was
go.
feeling myself, right? Then we got a little Push It, Salt and Pepper. Fallout Boy. Look, I'm telling you, I told you I listened to everything. Oh, Band-Aid, my favorite Christmas song. Do they know it's Christmas time? You know that song? Band-Aid, the one that they did for charity, like way back.
I'm a big Mariah Carey.
Mariah
She
Carey.
loves Christmas. Oh, legit. It's on there. I see the album cover.
There. Jingle Bell Rock, right?
She owns it.
So yeah, man, I listened Dancing in the Moonlight, Dust in the Wind, Kansas. I'm all over. Sometimes
I love it.
Sometimes I feel like dancing. I love dancing, by the way.
Well, you are all over it. You are the game day guy. We see you all over the community, and we are so grateful for your participation on our podcast today and for the support that Amerant Bank provides Kennedy Kids Foundation. It is such a blessing and honor to know you and to meet you. And to all of our listeners, if you need assistance, please dial 988. If it's an emergency, of course, dial 911. And if you're not familiar with our organization at kennedykids.org, please feel free to visit our resources page to look for any mental health tips. And in honor of Orly Garcia's playlist, we're dancing on out of here today. So see you later.
Orly, how can people connect with you real quick?
You can call me anytime on my cell, 754-244-2079, or email at olgarcia@amerantbank.com.
Peace out, people.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
The fish fries, blue lights, basement parties, I ain't never lied. Okay, I made it through the rough time.